ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about goals. And, as 2020 rolls into an end here we are mid-December. It's always a good time for me to kind of start thinking about my goals for next year. Take a minute, reflect of what's happened in 2020. It's been a lot going on, and I've actually got kind of a fun outfit on today because I have my Whiskey Tango Foxtrot 2020, for those of y'all that know the phonetic alphabet from the military. And I've also got my Christmas quarantine t-shirt on to have some fun to kind of commemorate the end of 2020 as we come into the Christmas season. But today, like I said, is about goals. And I want to talk about why I like to think about my goals this time of year. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of things that always happen. Oh, we have a new year and it's a new me, but that's always some sort of crap sales pitch on a TV commercial that you see somewhere. I don't think that goals are an important thing to think about as you end one year and go into a next one. Yes, you kind of have that fresh start, guys, but in my opinion, your goals should never have a January 1 to December 31st kind of timeline. They should be ongoing, constantly evolving and changing for what you are trying to accomplish. So don't buy into this New Year's resolution thing, guys. I'm not a big New Year's resolution. It's not, oh my God, this is the year, this is it, because everybody felt that way at the beginning of 2020. And guess what 2020 did to you? It crapped all over you. And here we are trying to start over and make sure that we can adjust and modify. And if you were a successful person, that is what you had to do with 2020. And I have to be honest, 2020 has been one of my best years ever because of that fact, because I was able to modify and adjust and kind of move forward. But what I like about it, guys, is it does kind of give us a clean beginning and a good place to think about stuff because you have the time. Business kind of slows down a little bit, and we've just got a minute. You're taking off time with work. You get extra time with your kids and your spouse and all that good stuff. And it just gives me a minute to think. And I like to take time around this time of year because I tend to have it. There's a little bit less going on in the world, a little bit less business stuff happening. Real estate tends to slow down a little bit this time of year. I try not to let it, but I know my kids are home. I know my wife's got some time off, and it's a good time for all of us to sit down and think. And the one thing that I really like to press forward with my wife especially, because we think very, very different, is this quote from Stephen A. Schwarzman. It says, big goals take as much work as a small one. I'm actually paraphrasing that. He talks about building a business. If you're going to build a business, build a big one because it's just as much effort as building a small business. So basically think big as we go into this. And that's something I want to challenge you to do as we move forward, is to really think big. Think about what you can do and what you should be doing in order to be as beneficial to your family, to do what it is that you're supposed to do, to carry the weight that you're supposed to carry. And if you're like me, I'm going to carry the most weight and I'm going to make the biggest things happen. And that's just kind of the way I think, and that's the way I function in my family. So there's a couple of kind of standard stuff that everybody talks about when it comes to goal setting. And I'm not one of those gurus that's going to sit here and try and sell you a $99 course so I can explain all this stuff for you. If you can't figure it out, then read something online. It's all free. Just go find it. Don't pay anybody for it. But what I do like is to think about the 7 areas to set goals in. I can't remember who came up with this. I'm not trying to steal it. But just think about these 7 areas as you go into goals. There's career and business, finance, education, relationships, health and fitness, personal growth, and even spiritual growth, guys. Every year I do sit down and I think about these 7 different topics and what I can do in each one of these things to improve myself. As a matter of fact, this is the intro to my goal sheet right here. And as you can see, I've got different columns and categories because I actually sit down and think about every single one of these areas. Guys, career and business is obviously what I'm doing here, working with you guys in Whiteline. And that's what I'm going to spend most of my time talking about today. Finance is another big one for me. I don't know why, but I spend so much time thinking about the finance aspect of it. And it used to really bother me. It used to make me feel very greedy. It used to make me feel like, man, my goals aren't right, because as I do goals, I'd have, one goal for health and fitness and one goal for this and like so many for finance. And I was thinking to myself, am I focusing on the wrong things? But then I came to a very keen conclusion that we need it. It's a very survival thing. And when you own your own business and when you're an entrepreneur, just like you and me, if you're working in real estate, it's something that weighs on your head. If you have not woken up in the middle of the night at some point scared about what's going to happen with this or what's going on, and especially like, we do a lot of real estate investing here at Whiteline. Sometimes you make some big plays that are scary. And to me, finance is a very important thing. And what I've been working towards lately is to make it less important to me. And that comes with, and we'll talk about a little bit, a few of the goals that I have, but it comes with finding ways to get your residual income up. And we'll talk about that. Education, a lot of people, when we're sitting in these things, think to themselves, well, I've already got my college degree. What else do I have? I got my license, or I did this, or I don't want to go to college. Guys, it's not that kind of education. You need to be thinking about ways to make yourself smarter. I don't care if it's listening to podcasts, reading books, attending classes, if you have certain CE, if you're wanting to go get certain designations behind your find a way to get smarter, because if you think you know everything, you're an idiot. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. All of that good stuff. And I'll say it flat out. I don't care. If you think you don't need it, have anything else to learn, you're an idiot. Those are the most dangerous people in the world. Relationships. We all have relationships. Married, not married, dating, it doesn't matter. There needs to be some sort of goal set in here. We are social creatures by nature. And it is important for us to maintain these relationships in the most healthy form. I know for me personally, I don't know who else can relate to this, but I'm sure a lot of you, because entrepreneurs are kind of drawn to doing their own thing. But we tend to be a little bit selfish. We tend to get very focused on the finance and the career and business side of things. And I lose sight of my relationships, if I'm being absolutely honest. Like I have a very, very patient and tolerant wife. But now I've got two little ones. I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they don't always understand that. And so this is another big one for me that I've been thinking about for the past few years, working really hard towards. Health and fitness, of course, guys, this is the one you're going to hear on every single TV commercial. Come get a gym membership. It's $1 this month, and you're going to be skinny. And, you know, guys, y'all know the routine. What happens in February? You got plenty of time, plenty of room in the gym at that point. But it is important, guys. If you don't take care of your health, everything else does suffer around you. And, you know, some people can, guys, the sharper my body is, the sharper my mind tends to be. If I wake up feeling good, and I'm not sluggish, and I'm eating well, and I'm exercising, everything else tends to fall in line a hell of a lot better than if I just sit here and don't pay attention to that. All these things are interdependent. Personal growth, guys, again, that is the purpose of setting goals. Where am I gonna change? What's gonna look better for me? How am I gonna be a better person? A lot of my philanthropy comes into this one. The things that I choose to do for other people fall into this category as my personal growth. How am I going to become a better human outside of these things? So philanthropy tends to be where I focus on under the personal, and then spiritual growth. Guys, spiritual growth, it doesn't matter if you're a religious person or not. Human beings, in my humble opinion, are very, very spiritual creatures. There is something bigger than us, even if you don't think that it's a religious thing for you. It doesn't have to be. For you to think that we're not all connected in some way is a very strange thought to me. And if you really want to get down this, if you're one of those people that don't have a religious background, start looking into metaphysics. Really do the research on that one. That's the one that kind of points at the direction that I'll let you look it up. Actually, I'm not going to get into that. That's beyond the scope of this. If you're not a religious person, go research metaphysics, get deep into what we are and how we were created. I think it'll be really interesting to you, and do it strictly from a scientific perspective. If you are a religious person, guys, and you do believe in a bigger, higher power, whatever it is, God, Buddha, Allah, I don't care. In my humble opinion, they're all the same person. But I'm not going to go down that road. But guys, there needs to be a spiritual aspect to you as well. Whether it be prayer, whether it be meditation, whether it just be self-reflection, I think that there's something that needs to go into all of us to make us a better person. So as we look at all 7 of these things, you need to have goals set in all 7 of them. Try and not have one too much heavier than the other, because if you're too heavy in your career and business and finance, the rest of it will suffer. So make sure you're paying attention to that. I just think it's important. I'm not going to go into it much further than that, but now you know where they are. Another thing that I think personally is very important with setting goals is SMART goals. And I'm sure you've heard this before. It's an acronym. The S stands for specific. Actually, let me back up just real quick. So the S stands for specific. Whenever you set a goal, it has got to be a very specific goal, because everything, you won't ever know if you reach it. If your goal is, I want to lose weight, that is not a specific goal. There is nothing tied to that. I want to make more money. That is not specific. You need to say, I want to make X amount of money by X date, guys. Specific means you have a very, very clear and definitive what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And the M for SMART is measurable. We want to make sure that it's measurable. So like I said, very specific and measurable. Guys, I want to lose 10 pounds that is something you can measure. You can be specific with things that you can't measure, like I want to change the world and have less hungry people. That's pretty specific, but it's not measurable. How are we going to change the world? How are we going to have less hungry people? Whatever it might be. Make sure it's something that has a definitive end. Next is attainable. Is it something that you think you can do? A lot of people have, when I talk to them about, I'm going to take over the world. Guys, do you honestly believe that you can do that? Now, there's a very fine line between what you think is obtainable and what you think is attainable and what you think is a big goal. And I love having big goals, but there's a very, very big difference in those two things, guys. So make sure it's something that in your head, it's something that you can do. The next one, guys, is going to be, where am I at? There we go. Is it realistic? That's going to be very similar to the BHAG goal, guys, which I have with BHAGs and 10X. Realistic is in your mind again. Is this something that I honestly think I can have? But beyond that, guys, is you need to have a goal. So the BHAG goals is something that I love. It's big, hairy, audacious goal. If you follow Grant Cardone, he's talking about 10X. Realistic, guys, you need to push what your definition of realistic is. You need to understand that, hey, I think I'm only this good. Guys, it doesn't matter. If you can't think of something beyond it, then just multiply it by 10. I want to sell 10 houses this year. To me, that's light. So you need to go up, say, I need to sell 100 houses this year, and figure out how you're going to do that. And we'll get into that in a minute. And the last is it's got to be timeless. When are you going to accomplish these goals? When are you going to be done with it? When are you going to know whether or not you've accomplished it? And me personally, with those timely things, I like to have my goals diced out into some very, very small increments. And I review these increments very honestly. And these right here are days: 3 days, 10 days, 20, 30, 60, 90, 6 months, and a full year. Where are my goals along those timelines? I think a great one is like if you want to lose weight, like I'm going to lose 5 pounds by the end of January. I'm going to lose 8 pounds by the end of February. And in 90 days, I'm going to have lost 15 pounds or whatever it might be, guys. Set your goals up to where they are specific. I'm going to lose 15 pounds. I can measure that by getting on a scale. I think it's attainable. I think it's pretty realistic. Actually, my goal is to lose 25. And here's the timeline on which I'm going to do this, so you know whether or not you're progressing along those things. Again, guys, this is not some guru speech. You can find this online. Just type in SMART goals and you can find it. These little things in here are just kind of my interpretations. Realistic, guys, you need to redefine what you think is realistic. And number 2 is your BHAG. If it is a big, hairy, audacious goal, that's great. If you can't think outside that box, then just multiply by 10 like Grant Cardone does. Now for the fun stuff. This is where my little guru aspect comes in and my thoughts on goals. Those first 2 parts, the 7 things and the SMART goals, are just tried and true that if you have done any research on goals, you're going to come across that. The first one is when you're setting your goals, excuse me, when you're setting your goals, you need to sit down for a minimum of 2 hours, undistracted. Put the phone away. Make sure the kids are not around. You need to go to the library. Go sit in a park and leave your phone in the car. Take a yellow pad and a pen and just start writing. Just write as much as you can stand and just start writing down on those 7 different things. When I did mine, y'all saw on my yellow pad, I put 7 different little blocks on my yellow pad and I started writing. Where am I deficient? What are my goals? What am I thinking? Guys, I actually went through about 15 sheets of my yellow pad in my 2 hours. Actually, it took me about 3.5 to really sit down and think through these things, because you start off with these real broad scope things, and then you start really thinking, okay, well, is this specific? Can I measure it? Is it obtainable? Where am I at? And then just taking a minute to do all that stuff. Guys, a minimum of 2 hours. If you cannot, that's why I love doing it at this time of year. Like I said, this time of year tends to slow down for a little bit of real estate, and I fight that. I hate that. But take time to think about it. Take at least 2 hours. Once you've done this, and if you were married, have a date night with your spouse. My date night, if you follow me on any of my Instagram, anything like that, my date night was this last Saturday with my wife. I asked her to do the exact same thing. Can you please write down your goals and let's sit down and let's talk about it? Most people are scared to talk to anybody about their goals, and that's weird to me. And if there's any one person that you need to talk to, it needs to be your spouse, guys. you need to talk to your spouse. You need to know what's going on. Like I said earlier, I am definitely the driver in our family. Like I'm the one who wants to go take over the world. My wife definitely is behind me, but I think I've got the bigger drive. Like I'm going to start a brokerage. I'm going to go start my own business. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And my wife has, I'm definitely, the joke is like I'm the kite and she's my string. Both are very, very necessary. And that's why I like meeting with her about these, and vice versa. Sometimes she's too much of a string and not enough of a kite. Like I thought, if I'm just being honest, don't tell her I said this, but I feel like her goals are very limited. I'm like, well, let's think bigger here. Where can we go? And on the flip side, like sometimes I'm like, we're going to the moon, baby. Let's go. And she's like, hold on a minute. How are we going to pick? We've got kids, we've got daycare. Well, let's figure out how to fit all this stuff in. And it's both healthy, guys. It's important to discuss it and get on the same page. So what's really interesting is that my goals and her goals sometimes align very well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they are very, very, very far off. And we need to get on the same page. We're a team. If you are married, you became a team, and you've got to make sure that everybody understands. My wife's actually really cool about just letting me kind of run those bigger things. And so she is a lot of fun when it comes to thinking about those bigger things, and sometimes she's not. Sometimes we fight about it. Sometimes we fight, whatever. But you're a team. Get on the same page so you know what you're going to do once you break that huddle. Next thing, guys, with follow-up. Okay, so I go on the date night with my spouse. That was Saturday night. We reconvened last night, actually, and we're going to reconvene again on this because once I find, the day, guys, we're sitting at dinner for an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? That's a long time to be at dinner, but we kind of got on the same page. And then we're going to follow up, which we did last night. Hey, I asked you to look at this. You wanted me to look at that. Here's where we're coming back to it. Let's look at it again. And then our third one is we're going to have all this thing tied down to where her goals and my goals mesh together and work for both of us. Because I don't ever want to step on my wife's dreams, and I don't want her to step on mine. And that's why this is important, guys, because if there's anybody that's going to slow you down, it's your spouse. And if they don't understand what you're trying to do or understand why you want to do it, that's a really big problem, guys. The next thing is on my thoughts on goals is daily review. I look at my goals every single day. There's two ways that I do that. Is I do have a vision board, and I might show you. I don't know if I do or not. But guys, I do one of these every year, and my kids love doing it. If you have kids, do it with your kids. I get a handful of magazine subscriptions. They just basically compile around my house throughout the year. And we also sit down and we go online and we get the printer out and we start making a vision board. If you don't know what a vision board is it's literally you go get a poster board. You can get a poster board for 84 cents, I think it is, at Walmart or HEB or whatever. I like the foam boards, the ones that are a little bit harder, because I tend to move mine around a lot because I want to be looking at it every day. And I have pictures of my things. And there's a lot of scientific study that I'm not going to go into about like how Olympians, they will literally ask the Olympians to just sit down and think about their race, and they'll hook their brains and their muscles up, and all the muscles in the brain fire in the same order, just visualizing what's going on. Guys, if you take a minute every day and visualize, my wife gets mad at me because sometimes I put my vision board in the bathroom and it's literally sitting behind the sink, in front of the mirror, because I want to look at it every morning when I do that. I know it sounds weird. Sometimes I put it on top of the toilet because when I wake up in the morning, I go pee, and that's a minute for me to sit and think about it. Sometimes I put it in my office. Sometimes it's in my closet. Sometimes, guys, I move it around the house because I'm just weird like that. But make a vision board. It doesn't take long. It's a lot of fun. And do it with your kids. Talk to them a little bit about goals. They're going to have a little bit harder time making something that's specific or obtainable. But what is beautiful about doing vision boards with your kid is the concept of realistic is just not a thing. And, the Bible, if you want to enter the kingdom, you've got to act like a child. And I think it's just so beautiful with my kids because they're like, yeah, no, we're going to the moon, and here's a picture of the moon, and I'm sticking it on my vision board. But I do talk to them, like if I have trips planned, which is something that my wife and I talk about. I turned 40 this year. I want to go to Italy for my 40th birthday. There's going to be a picture of Italy on my vision board. There's going to be a picture of exactly where I want to stay. There's going to be a picture of the things I want to do in Italy. My degree is actually in music, for those of y'all that know. I was raised Catholic. There's a lot of stuff that you need to check off if you're music and Catholic. So those are all going to be on my vision board. The next thing is journals. I kind of want to, hold on, I'm gonna stop my share real quick on this. Did I do it? Where are we at? Hold on a second. So hopefully you can see me, and I wanted to show y'all my journals real quick, guys. So my journals I've got tons of them, and it's taken me a long time to find the ones that I've liked. There's the Evo journal, if you've ever followed those guys. There's the Grant Cardone 10X one. The one that I find the best is called the Intention Journal, and this is it's a 4-month journal. So this was Q3, and this one right here is Q4. And this is something that I literally sit down with every single morning. It takes me about 20 minutes. And I love it because it gives me an opportunity to review my goals. And guys, I mean, as you can see, every single day in here is filled out. And I got this from Bigger Pockets. For those of you that are into real estate investing, that tends to be my favorite one so far because it's got so much reminders. And you just review it every day. Guys, if you're not reviewing your goals every day, it's kind of pointless, if I'm going to be honest, to just write down your goals one time and you forget where you're at in the year. You forget what you're trying to accomplish. And you've got to review them. That's why the vision board's important. And that's why journaling is important. If you want to journal about your day and your thoughts, kind of like a diary-esque, that's great. But you need to start your days off by looking at your goals and figuring it out. And I'm going to share with you a little bit more about it because in my journaling, there's one in the Intention Journal from Bigger Pockets called Minimum Important Next Steps, the MINS. What do I have to do today to get that done? If my goal is to sell X amount of houses, what do I have to do today? And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in just a second because it cuts through the crap. And I'm going to talk more about this because if I know what my most important next step is, the next thing that I do is time block. Time blocking, guys, I hate the term, what is it called? Sorry, I just saw the book and I wanted to talk about it, but I can't think about it. But the time management, I guess that's the term I'm looking for. I hate the term time management because it's always about being as efficient as you possibly can be throughout the day. And yes, that is very, very important. But in my opinion, what's more important than that is knowing what your important steps are to get to your goals and to block off the time to do that. So I block my time. Anybody that's ever worked with me, if you're asking me to do something or you send me an email and you want a response in 5 minutes, it ain't going to happen because I check my emails 2 times a day, sometimes 3, because otherwise, you know how it goes, guys. You can sit down in your email box and just be there all day long. And that's not a good, healthy way to do it. So time block like this, by the way, time blocking, guys, is you literally write down in the morning before your day starts what you're going to be doing that day from when to when. So from 8. So for instance, like I wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock. I am on my bike by 5:30. My first 30 minutes of the day is I sit down and I do my journaling, I do my review, I read some stuff. There's some things I do. But 5:30, maybe 5:45, I'm on the bike. I'm on my Peloton for 30 minutes. I get off the Peloton, I go take a shower, I do this. We are in the car at 7 o'clock. From 7 to 8, I'm taking my girls to school. When I get back from 8 to 9, is when I check emails and handle paperwork and delegate what it is I need to delegate, and so on and so forth. So from 9 to 10, it depends on my day. Maybe from 9 to 10 or maybe 9 to noon, I'm going to go look at investment properties. Okay, so one of my time blocks is every Wednesday from 10 to 11, I will be doing a Zoom class. That's why I never miss these. It is blocked off. It is set in stone in my calendar, and nothing else is going to stop me. When people call me at 9:45 and say, hey, can you do all this? No, I cannot. I can do it at 1 o'clock because I have a break in my schedule, and I know exactly what I'm doing. And people really appreciate that, and plus it keeps your head straight. Guys, if you have a time to sit down and reply to text, if you have a time to sit down and answer emails, you're very seldomly going to miss anything. If you're trying to do it intermittently throughout the day, you're going to screw it up. And another reason for time blocking is you have to stop being reactive. That is oh my God, I can't tell you how much this has changed my life, and I'm still so bad at it. I still work on it every day because there's always a fire. There's always a fire. There's a quadrant that you can research. I can't remember what it is, but the basic concept is it important? Is it time sensitive? So when you get reactive, if somebody sends you a text message and you stop what you're doing and you respond to that text, if it's not important and it's not time sensitive, you really don't need to handle it right that minute. And you can get really lost in your day if you are simply reactive to everything that happens around you. I am very timely with all of my responses. If you send me an email, you will get an email back from me, usually within 12 hours, for sure within 24 hours. If you send me a text message, guys, I have times throughout my day that I will sit and review my text messages. It's usually right after lunch. So if you send me a text message, I'm usually going to get back to you in a couple hours. If I notice that is an absolute time sensitive fire, something going on, then I will react. But other than that, guys, you've got to learn to stop being reactive, and time blocking will help you stop being reactive. And that's something I do daily, guys. That's in my journal, is time blocking. There's literally a page. I don't know if you can see this in here. I'm going to get a blank one. A blank one in here where I've got, like, it literally outlines my day. And so every morning I know exactly what I'm going to be doing throughout that day. And I do put in there emails, text messages, whatever it is. Also, another thought on goal setting, guys, you're not a dog. You are not a dog. And I hate when I hear people say this. I never correct them. It's rude. But if I exercise 3 times this week, then I'm going to have chocolate cake on Friday. You're not a dog. Sit and you get a treat. No, that's not how any of this works. If there's something that you want, go flip and get it. Okay. I want to go to Italy. It's not going to be if I sell 10 houses, I go to Italy. No. I want to go to Italy, and therefore I must sell 10 houses. There's a totally different thought process that goes into your brain that shifts you into being proactive, into being a badass. If you want something, you put it on there and you figure out how. You figure out how to get it done. Not if I do this, then I will. You know why? Because if I go to the gym 3 days this week, I'm going to have a cheat day on Saturday. You're going to have the damn cheat day on Saturday anyways. Okay? Just put it in there. My goal, I'm cheating on Saturdays. I'm going to eat ice cream and cake, whatever I want to do, guys. You can have epic cheat days. Like, my favorite is The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson. He's on Instagram. He has like epic cheat days. But the guy, he schedules them. I'm going to cheat like hell on Saturday. But you know what else he schedules? I'm going to the gym 5 days that week. So, guys, you're not a dog. Do not set your goals up like that. It's counterproductive. You're going to lose every time. And I can't remember who told me that, but it was brilliant. I'm like, yeah, screw that. I'm not going to treat myself. If I sit down, you're going to get a treat. If I work on this for 5 hours, then I'm going to go buy myself lunch. No. If you're going to go out to lunch, go out to lunch. Plan it, figure out how you're going to get there. And a goal without a plan is just a wish. You've heard this before, guys. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said this. I think that's pretty accurate. If I'm going to be completely harsh and honest, guys, goal without a plan is a delusion. You are absolutely delusional. I'm going to lose 15 pounds this year. No, guys, you have got to work out a plan. Otherwise, you're delusional. That's why people are scared to death to share their goals with other people, because they don't have a plan on how to get it done. They say they're going to do something, and then they just like, well, and then you're scared to say it or put it online. Guys, if you follow me on social media, you saw this morning I posted what my December fitness goal was, and guess what? I am a little bit ahead of track on this thing. Guys, everybody knows what I'm doing because I'm not afraid to do it, and we're going to talk about the planning aspect of it next. A goal without a plan is a delusion, guys. You are delusional if you don't sit down and work it out. And that's why the third meeting with my wife is so important, because that's where the plan starts to come together. How are we going to do this? If you are married with kids, you understand how precious time can be. You understand how precious 8 to 5 is when the kids are at school, or whatever it is, 7 to 3, whatever your time period, it doesn't matter. You understand how precious that time can be. And you also understand, if you're a realtor, which all of you are, how much people want you after 5 and how much people want you on the weekends. So you've got to make plans, work things backwards. So my goal that I posted on social media this morning was, I had a plan at the beginning of December to do 200 miles on my Peloton bike, and also to do 3,000 burpees. Why 3,000 burpees? Well, because my friend Samson was kind of like made just a blanket challenge. I said, you know what? I can do that. I also did it because I hate burpees. And I said, you know what? We're going to eat that frog. And I'm going to talk about that too. But so 3,000 burpees. What's the plan on 3,000 burpees? I mean, anybody with half a second can figure out there's 31 days in December. So if you take 30, that's 100 burpees a day. All right, so we got 100 burpees a day, bare minimum, in order to reach this goal. Now, if I do 150 burpees a day, I'm done by the 20th. That's something doable. But 150 burpees, I don't know if you've ever done 100 burpees or 150 burpees. That sucks. Now, there was no rules to this competition, so I started figuring things out real quick. All right, if I got to do 100 to 150 burpees a day to finish early or to take a day off or whatever it is I want to do, then I know I got to do at least 100. Second thing is I'm going to figure out when throughout that day I'm going to do it. So this is dead on the street, guys. I get off the Peloton at about 6 o'clock, maybe 6:15 if I get a little bit of a late start. And literally the next 15 minutes, I'm already sweaty. This already sucks. I will pound out 50 burpees. So now before I've even eaten breakfast, I am halfway done with this goal. And then my next thing is then I work it out for the rest of the day. Now I've done my time blocking. I know where I'm going to be. I know what's happening. So if I know that I'm going to be home for lunch, I'm going to pound out 10 burpees before I eat lunch and 10 burpees after I leave lunch and before I leave the house again. Guys, I literally work them out in blocks of 10 to 20 or 25, depending on where it is. I can do 10 burpees without getting sweaty. So I don't mind doing that before lunch. I don't mind doing it in the middle of the day. Guys, find your plan and work it out. One of the things that I do with my plans is like a very famous one that I've taught a million times is 10-5-3-1. That's a big planning thing for me. What this means to me is if I have 10 appointments, 5 of them will actually happen. Like I'll schedule 10 and 5 people will flake. Out of those 10 appointments, I'll probably get three of them will end well, and one of them I'll get a contract out of, or I'll set up a house or whatever it is. Guys, these are roundabout numbers. Don't use these. This is just something that I've taught, but it just goes to show if I'm trying to get 10 contracts and I work backwards, that means I need to have 100 meetings set up. If I want 20 contracts, that means I need 200 meetings set up. Figure out what your plan is and work backwards. My plan for Italy, my birthday's in August. I want to go to Italy. So we got to figure this whole thing out. All right, so I need to book a flight. The flight's going to cost how much money? $2,000, okay? So I got to book a flight for $2,000. When am I going to book that flight by? By this day, okay? So I need to have at least one house sold with, that I make $6,000 on so I can book the flight. You get what I'm saying, guys? We're going to work this whole thing down to I know exactly when I will book the flight. I know when I will book my room, and I know when I'm going to be gone. And all of these things are going to tie together as I work out my plan for the year. Set up your daily objective, guys. Once you have your plan work backwards, you know what you got to do. Okay. One of my plans this year is to sell 25 houses in a traditional format through my real estate license, either help people buy or sell houses, 25. That's 2 a month plus one somewhere else in the middle of that somewhere. Then my daily objective is I'm going to sell 25 houses. I'm going to do 2 a month. I know 2 of these are going to get here. I need to set up at least 20 meetings with buyers or sellers. That's what I got to do. So guess what? I'm going to do 2 a month. I need 20 meetings a month. We divide that whole thing out. That means I need to have at least 1 to 2 meetings a day to make that work if I'm using these numbers. If you don't know what your numbers are for a particular thing, guys, just track it. That's why you journal. You write that crap down. You write it down and you pay attention to it, and you know what your metrics are. So now I know what my daily objective is. I need to find an appointment. I need to have 20 appointments this month. Where am I going to find these appointments? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to make X amount of calls. I'm going to call my people that I've already helped. I'm going to get referrals. I'm going to do this. We're going to work the entire thing backwards. Same thing, like I said, with the 3,000 burpees, guys, 100 burpees a day. Review them daily. 100 burpees a day. It goes in my calendar. I'm looking at it. I know I have to do it. For those of y'all that saw my post this morning, sorry, it's sitting right here on my desk. I literally review every day where I'm at with my burpees. It's a stupid, easy goal. It sucks, but most people are like 3,000 burpees in a month. Are you crazy? Not really, guys. Not if I break it up. It's not that bad. And then eat the frog. There's a book called Eat That Frog. If you have a priority list of things to do, and the basic premise of the thing is if you got 10 things to do, and the last one is eat the frog. Like one of them is you have to eat a frog, like a literal frog. The book basically says you need to eat that frog first thing in the morning, because otherwise your day, you're going to be dreading eating that frog all day long. And everything in your life is going to suffer because you're thinking about it. That's exactly why I do 50 burpees in the morning, because I'm already halfway done and I haven't even eaten breakfast. Okay? Guys, eat the frog. If there's something that's hard or that you don't want to do, there's 2 answers to that. But one of them, in this particular thing, is eat that frog. Eat the frog, guys. Do the hard things first. And then make sure you do it with your time blocking. Do it with your time blocking, guys. The second one is procrastinate on purpose. There was a book by, what was his name? He won Toastmasters. Why can't I think of it? I've got the book up here. Just a minute. Rory. Vaden. Rory Vaden wrote this book called Procrastinate on Purpose. And I think it was really cool. There's a really interesting thing that if you procrastinate on something, it means that you're probably not real good at it, or it just sucks the life out of you. And he talks about how to go ahead and move that around. One of the things that you can do is think about maybe not when you're going to do it or how you're going to do it, but maybe think about who's going to do it. Is there someone? I don't want to mow the yard. Well, maybe I need to spend some time teaching my kid how to mow the yard. That way I don't have to do it, right? Maybe I need to hire an assistant. Maybe I need to get a virtual assistant to do this. Maybe I need to go on Fiverr and get somebody else to do this for me, because it's just simple data entry. And I'd rather pay somebody $20 to do it for me, and I can procrastinate on that particular task and put it off to somebody. And the last one, guys, on the planning side of stuff is accountability. You have got to let somebody know what you're doing and find a partner with this. I've got about 5 people that I talk to about my goals daily. Eric's one of them. Eric knows exactly where I'm at. Eric, and what I love about Eric, which I know a lot of people don't, is Eric's brutal. If you tell Eric you're going to do something, he will ride you like a rented mule until it's done. And he does it because he loves you. I mean, it's hard because he's freaking right 90% of the time. That, hey, you didn't do, what are you talking about? You didn't do that. You told me you were going to do this. Even if it didn't have anything to do with him. Like if I told him I was going to do 3,000 burpees and he found out I was at 200 right now, he would be right in. I mean, guys, you need to find somebody like that in your life. If that's the way you respond. I don't respond real well to it, but I like it from Eric for some odd reason. Another one is my spouse. My wife knows. She knows exactly what I'm doing. I have another really good friend of mine named Jeff. Jeff works in a completely separate industry. He works in finance. Him and I talk about our goals all the time. He's blown me away. His goal this year was to get $8 million into business. He's like at 20 million. It's unbelievable. And I know that about him. And he knows exactly where I'm at with my goals. Find somebody you can talk to about this, because 2 things. 1, it's going to hold you accountable. And 2, you're going to get some outside perspective. One of the things in my goals with the selling 25 houses is I started working backwards, guys, right? Oops. I guess that was the end of my presentation. On my 25 goals, I started working backwards on this, right? I'm like, well, I'm going to get this done. And one of the things was I need to get referrals. I need to think about getting referrals. And I was telling my wife about this. She's like, well, what are you going to do with it? And she goes, you know what? Actually, I've read this book, and it's sitting on my desk right here with my wife's notes and her little, probably not good, with her underlines. By the way, it's called The 7 Levels of Communication. How to go from relationships to referrals. Guys, I have a huge social circle. I know a lot of people. How do you get those people in? She's like, you need to read this book. Bam, there's an idea. Guys, now I have to figure out time for me to sit down and read this book. And when am I going to do it? I don't know. I'm going to time block it. I'm going to figure out when I'm going to do it. And guess what that means for me? Because I got to get through this book. And I usually do audiobooks, but this one I want to read because I want to see her notes. So this means I'm not watching TV before bed until I'm through this book. So guys, that's kind of my, oops, sorry, hold on. I unplugged my computer. It's going to die. Guys, that is my insight on goals and just the little things that I was thinking about. So just kind of to review, guys, don't do this as a New Year's resolution. Don't be lazy. Come on, guys. The goals are what you do to transform your life, not like some pie in the sky crap TV commercial. Your big goals are going to take as small as your last one. Make sure you're thinking about all aspects of your life. Make sure you are not just thinking about career and finance, because you'll get unbalanced. And if all you're worried about is your career, your relationships are going to go to crap. Your health's probably going to go to crap. Your spiritual is going to go to crap. So make sure you're thinking about all of these things and when you're going to do them. And, thinking about it, guys, when I sit down and I first do these, it's actually really, really intimidating. It's daunting. God, I got a lot of crap to get done this year. But again, when you have the plan and you work it all out, guys, it all kinds of comes together. Make sure you're tracking them, that they are SMART goals, and spend some time planning them. Get your plan, spend some time thinking about them, and spend some time planning them. Because once you get them planned, get ready to go. And guys, the last thing that I really want to talk about before I just sign this thing off is you've got to be flexible, but you've got to be unrelenting. You've got to be flexible, but you've got to be unrelenting. You cannot give up on a goal because it got hard. You cannot change your mind because maybe this is just not for me because I had a hard time with it for the first month. No, it means you have to be flexible and get a new plan. If you want to do it today, there's a reason. And if you spent 2 hours thinking about it and figuring out a plan on this thing and talking to your spouse about it, that doesn't mean it's just something you're just going to quit on. Okay. I'm not going to quit on Italy. I've done absolutely nothing to go to Italy. All I know is that's what I want to do. So we're going to figure this thing out. And if it comes around to March and I haven't booked it, I'm not going to tell myself, oh, Colin, maybe Italy's just not in the cards this year. Maybe we're just going to go down to Port Aransas for your four. No, I'm doing this. There's nothing wrong with Port Aransas. Don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you, I'm going to Italy. Okay. We're going to figure this out. Now, maybe the world happens to me and I don't hit certain parts of my goal and I don't get to go on August 6th, but I'm freaking going. It may be September, but I'm going. Okay, it's unyielding, but there's got to be some flexibility. And another thing, guys, when it comes to the flexibility and goals is, one, if you hit your goals soon, like let's say, my 3,000 burpees are up. Let's say I just hit it and I'm done by the 10th of December, right? I do 200 a day or 300 a day and I'm done on the 10th, right? We're rearranging. That doesn't mean I just take the rest of the month off. We're going to find something else. It's like my buddy Jeff. He said he's going to do $8 million. He said he's going to do $8 million this year in new assets under management. He's already at like 15 or 16. I can't remember exactly, but he revamped it. He goes, guess what? Now the answer is 18, and he pushed himself a little bit harder. He was able to take that goal and make it a little bit bigger and a little bit hairier. Okay, and then guys, one last thing is during my goal setting plan. I forgot to put this in here, guys. Sorry, during my 2 hours, the first thing that I do during that is I think about my goals from this past year and I celebrate them for a minute and I figure out if I can leverage them into the next one. One of my goals, just to let you know, is that I'm working towards having a certain amount of passive income through real estate investing, which I did this year. I did a good job with it. I'm proud of myself. I barely hit what I wanted to hit. But now I'm trying to think about how do I leverage that into the next one? How do I double down? Okay. How do I go from $5,000 in passive income to $10,000 per month? How do I double this thing down? And if I do double it down, what's my next one, right? How do I 10X beyond that? So guys, basically, in a nutshell, think about it, make it specific, plan it out, and look at it every single day. So there's my thoughts on goals, guys. Now, what I do want everybody to do that has watched this video is, if you are bold enough, if you are convicted enough, I want you to share with me those goals. You can put them in the White Line page. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see them in there so everybody knows what's going on. And that way other people can help you. Maybe somebody's going to recommend a book to you for your specific goal. Maybe somebody's going to want to partner with you on something. Maybe somebody's going to want to, you know what I mean? The more people you talk to, the better. And then you're going to have some people holding your feet to the fire. And then Eric's going to see it too, right? And so will I. So share it with me. You can just text it to me if you want to. You can shoot me an email, Colin@White Line Realty. If you want me to check in with you, I'd be happy to do it. And lastly, guys, put it in the agents page, man. I'd love to see it. I'd love everybody to see it. Let's go big, and let's just kill 2021. Just to let you know, also right now, guys, we got 37 agents in White Line Realty right now. Eric, Colin, and Ryan are all on the same page. We will have 100 next year. We will have 100 agents at the end of 2021. So now you know what we're doing, and something tells me some of you can help. Some of y'all might know somebody. Some of y'all might talk to some other realtors throughout the year. And you know what? Colin could use some help on this. How would you like to check out our brokerage? So love you guys. Let's go. Let's kill it. We're taking next week off. It's the week of Christmas. I'm going to take next week off because one of my things is I got to spend a little extra time with my kids and they're going to be out of school. So I really want to go do some special and fun stuff with them. So I'm going to be taking next week off, but the week after that, as we get ready for the New Year's, we're going to be doing this again. So next Wednesday's off. The Wednesday after that, which is the 30th of December, we will be back on 10 o'clock sharp. And I love you guys. Let's go kill it. Go sit down. 2 hours. You owe me 2 hours. Everybody that's listening to this owes me 2 hours of thought. Just think for a minute. Slow down. It's hurt and it's scary, but do it.